Njauwe, I'm gonna share something, a dream that was showing me things that are happening to us at this current state that are problematic to our society. Okay, so the dream, I'm gonna share how it started and the people who were involved in these dreams, or in this particular dream, and the reason for it, what was needed, what was the message in that dream, and how it reflects what is currently happening with our society. Now, the dream starts with this group. There's a girl who's been chased, right? She's been chased. She's running away. She's running away from these young boys, and as she's running away, she's screaming out for help. And when she's screaming out for help, the community, which are too far from her, well, they could hear her cries. And when they do, they're trying to let the authorities know that there is something that doesn't sound right. And the authorities let the community, know that they'll deal with it. Now, as the authorities do that, the community stay still. They don't do anything about it. But the cries continues. And nothing is happening. Anyway, from that cries, bad things are happening to this particular young girl. She's been. This dream is a painful dream, right? It's a painful dream to what is currently happening to us, our young people, or to our women, right? This is to bring awareness to what is currently happening. So she's been beaten in a way that is not right, violently, and by two young men. And one of them, because remember they are about a group, one of them, the third guy, as they're running away, comes back to the scene of the crime, and he comes and collects all the things that could, if they were found, they'll be able to pinpoint who's done this horrible act. So he comes in to do the covering up, to pick up the things that, the things that they were using to hit this particular young girl. So he picks them up, he runs away. As he's running away, there are two passers-by, these are joggers. They're passing by. They didn't see the thing happening, the act happening, but they're passing by. They're passing this young woman lying down on the ground, and they just looked and went, continue with their jogging. Now, after a couple of hours, the community realized that something bad has happened to that young girl. So they're trying to find out who's done that horrible act, like what has happened to the girl, like the beating obviously has ended up with the end of that young girl. So they are trying to trace to find out what has actually happened. So now there was a girl during that act when these two young boys were beating the girl. There was a young girl who was with them. She was there. She was witnessing. She didn't say anything. She was part of this group. She didn't do anything at all. But she was with the community now, trying to find the culprits. So she's there asking questions. I wonder who did this. And these people, they need to be found. And once they're found, justice has to be, justice has to be done. Like, these people have to be found and be arrested. And you understand what I mean? She's there with the community doing that. Now, this dream was giving us different people in different roles and how they reacted to the calling of this victim when she was calling, when she was crying out for help. And none of them acted as they were meant to be acting. Now, I'll put it each person and the role that they played in this act, right? Now, the victim, we cannot say anything about the victim, obviously. Um, there's nothing that the victim could have done apart from calling out for help and hoping that she'll be helped during that. And nothing happened. Now, the abusers, we are not dealing with abusers now. We'll go into it in detail in another video. But I want to focus more on the witness, the girl who was there witnessing this, and she was there during this horrible crime when it happened, and she was there afterwards when the community were trying to find the culprits. And she was pretending to be concerned about finding the culprits. Now, remember this scenario, dream scenario, is telling us about the characters that each person in real life is playing when there are things like this that are happening around them. So some will be obviously the victim, which we don't want to be, which is very bad. The abusers, those who are hurting others, the ones who do the cover up, the ones who came, the guy who was coming in to collect the evidence to make sure that no one sees it, and he was hiding it. So that means someone who comes to cover up so that people don't find out who has done the horrible thing, right? In our communities, we've got these people, whether in communities, whether at work, we've got people who cover up so that people who have done the horrible things are not found out. And then we've got the communities who care. They care, but they're helpless because they believe that the law will deal with the issues that the community could deal with, because they feel that they don't have, I guess I will say they are paralyzed by the system that says we will protect the civilians, but then they are not protecting the civilians. So the communities rely on the system that is dysfunctional. And they can't do anything about it. They are not courageous enough to act. They rely on what is already broken to act on them, act on behalf of them, but it is not happening. There is chaos there. And the passers-by, these are the joggers who are indifferent to what is happening around them, because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't, this scenario that has happened, the victim, they don't relate to the victim as in this is not too close to them. So they see what has happened, but they are not doing anything about it. They're indifferent to what has happened around them, right? So those are passers-by. Now, the question is, what do we do as a communities when we are dealing with this? Because this mirrors the real life situation. When we see things happening around us and they're like in this bad way, what do we do? Are we gonna be just watching and we say nothing, or do we act on it, or we are like those who will stay silent because obviously we believe others can deal with it, or we become those people who are not helping as in with the truth, telling the truth. When they see things wrong, they are just those who want to protect the abusers, those who want to protect the culprits, and then they just leave it as it is, like as long as privately they're protective and they don't want to be seen to be like a the ones who tell others what has happened. Or are we the kind of societies who will be, even when we see that the law doesn't suit us, they are not acting on our behalf, or they're not protecting us, we are acting as the society is supposed to act, by saying the things that you need to say. When we say things that are happening around us that are wrong, we don't wait around for the authorities which have power, but they've got no will to act on their power. Are we going to be like that? We'll stay silent and wait on others to speak up for us, or we will do the right things when we see wrong things happening around us. Now, what I'm trying to say is, when we are societies, when we see things when we see things happening around us that are wrong, we need to say the right things, stand up for the truth, right? Stand up for the truth. We should not be protecting the abusers, right? We should not be protecting the abusers. We should not be indifferent to what is happening around us and act as if things that are happening around us, because it doesn't affect us directly, we leave them, we let others deal with it, those who are too affected by them. So we need to work together if we need to heal as a society. So this was a teaching dream. That is when the teaching dream mirrors real life situations. And the teaching dream is teaching us to become active, to say things, to say out loud when we see things happening around us, to protect others who are vulnerable around us. That is what the dream was teaching. It teaches us to be like that. People who are like, who stand up for what is right, irrespective of whether the person, whether by speaking the truth, you'll be putting the person who's too close to you in danger. As long as you're protecting, remember that it's not about protecting the victim. It's about stopping things from repeating, someone from doing the wrong things again to another person, right? Repeating the same cycle of abuse to another is about doing that. And it's about being there for each other as a society. That was the teaching dream, just mirroring everything that is happening around us. So as a society, we should say something when we see something going wrong. We should stand up for what is right, irrespective of whether we know someone or we don't know someone. We are too close to someone, we're not too close to someone. So we need to speak the truth, right? To speak the truth. So that is what that dream was teaching. But it was too deep, as in it was going to the community that is helpless, right? The community that is helpless, and the pretender, those who see something, they say nothing, and then they come to be like they're too concerned. Therefore, those ones are the most dangerous, because those ones, they're the ones who, when they are talking to you, you feel like being close to someone like that. You feel like you're part of something, a circle of people who are there to protect each other, while people are just there, to deceive. That is the society that we live in. Those ones we need to, the witnesses who says nothing, but then act as if they're concerned afterwards, before and afterwards. That is the dangerous society, people we don't need in our societies. Those who are in, they see things happening, they don't say anything when they're happening. Those who, even after they've seen things happening, they don't say anything afterwards to reveal the truth. So they hide the truth. So that is the ones that we need to be careful with. So that is what the dream story was revealing about our societies, the things that we need to look into, especially when we are dealing with the people. And these things, these dream things, is not about just dream revealing, mirroring what is happening in our day-to-day. It is about healing. How do we heal the victim as a healer? How do you heal the victim? How do you heal how do you deal with the abusers as well? Because obviously there is a root cause of that as well. What has created them to behave in that particular way? As a healer, we look into that. Not only are we looking into the victim, we look into the abusers. Now, as well, we look into the victims. What is stopping the people from coming forth to explain, to reveal information that will be helpful, that will stop these dangerous things from continuing? So what is creating these things? What is creating this kind of society, right? What is creating that? And then we look at the passers-by individually. I mean, why have we stopped being people who care for each other? What has created this kind of people who are indifferent to what is happening around them? Because that is a problem on its own. People like that, there is something that is not right. So what can we do to help so that these people as well, they become part of a society? We look up to each other, we look after each other, we love each other, and we care, and we protect each other without relying on the authorities. The authorities as well, we need to make sure that we hold them accountable as well. When things are happening around us and when we try to report and they don't come forth to help, therefore we need to come. We need to talk to them. We need to protest. We need to do it as much as we can to make sure that they stand for what they are there for, to protect the civilians, to protect us, right? Or to protect us from danger. That is our authorities, because that's what they're there for. Now, as well, we need to be courageous as a society. As community, we need to be courageous. We can't just we can't just be obedient because the rule says we should do this. But if we are seeing that these rules are not helping protect our communities, we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it, because what has happened in that dream is that when we first had that calling for help, we could have stopped a lot of things happening, bad things, from the dream. We could have stopped the dream from ending in that terrible way. So we need to be accountable. All of us as people, we need to be accountable. Now, us, if we don't see ourselves as those characters that I was talking about within the dream, now what can we do? Now we're talking healer to healer. What can we do as healers, especially when we become aware of those kind of characters in our societies when we're dealing with them? What can we do? Obviously, because obviously these kind of things, they create trauma, they create disharmony, they create continuous trauma that will keep on affecting our people, right? So what can we do as healers dealing with this kind of individual characters within our societies, who are one indifferent, one who be like pretentious, who be like people who be the cover-ups, those who are helpless, those who are dealing with the aftermath of the things that have happened close to them, the communities, families dealing with the people, the families of the victims. How do we help them? And things like this. So we just have to make sure that at all times we are we are honest. We are honest, and we encourage people around us to come forth, right? To come forth and be honest with what has happened around them and stuff like that. And as well, we need to be remember that some people, the reason why people don't talk is because when they talk to us, as well, we go and explain that someone has said something. We become like those people, when people are confiding in us, we go and share confidential things. So people don't feel confident enough to even come to talk to us about things that are affecting them or things that they know they might be helpful, right? They might be helpful. So we need to be accountable as well as healers. Be with information, confidential with information, encouraging people to speak whenever they can speak. And as well, when we're dealing with victims, we need to keep on reminding them as well that it is not their fault. It is not their fault. And the victims, it is not your fault. As for the culprits, the abusers, we need to find out the root cause. What is actually creating this kind of things that are affecting our societies, our people? That is what we need to look into when we are dealing with this kind of dreams that are teaching us about the things that are happening within our communities that we are dealing with. Because remember that the dreams just reveal things to us that we need to look at properly, look into it in detail, right? It is not that people don't want to help, which is what I was talking about, the community who relied on the system or relied on the authorities to deal with what they were hearing, the cry of someone looking for help. They thought the authority will deal with it because the authority is there to protect, right? But then the authority didn't protect. But as well as people, we forget that we can become courageous and act as civil people who are courageous enough to deal with the things that they see, waiting around for the authority to deal with the things, will actually end up being the end of someone. So we need, when we are seeing things, instead of just waiting for others to deal with it, we think about it as in rebatu kabatu, umuntu ngumuntu, right? So we need to act when we can. Not remember that sometimes we are unable to due to the situation wouldn't allow you to become a victim yourself while trying to protect another. But these are the things that as a collective we can help deal with collectively so that we stop these things that we keep on hearing. Our women dying, children dying due to abuses, and people dying due to mental illnesses created or caused by the environment, the work environment that was not really good for them, that gave them depression. So they end up doing things that obviously we start mourning for. Things like that. We need to look at them properly as healers so that we be able to deal with this kind of issues properly. Right? So that is just what I wanted to talk to you about. It was about the dream that mirrors what is currently happening within our societies. And Ndawe!